Hey, what's up everybody, this is Chris with REM. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do some extrusions, inset faces, and actually some bevels on some objects or a sphere from the previous video. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so essentially in the previous video we made a sphere. We showed you how to create a sphere that has all quads around each side. So what we're going to do is show you how to create these types of cuts so you have like a futuristic robot look to it and give it like some cool little features. This is not using bevels, and I'm going to show you later on in this video why this is better for game models or 3D printing than actually using the bevel modifier, and I'll show you the difference with the mesh. So let's just hop right into it. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and hide that. I'm going to pull up the cube from last time that we did. And actually, let's just start over. Let's just get rid of this cube altogether. So what I did last time is, you create the alright, you're gonna add mesh cube, and I'm gonna speed through this. If you need a refresher on how to do this, go back to the previous video. You can see a refresher on how to set up your cube for your scene. But I'm just gonna go ahead and speed through this really quickly and get us started. So subdivision surface, add a cast modifier, turn the factor up to 1, leave it on sphere. Everything looks good. Subdiv is on. We're going to apply the subdiv. We're going to apply the cast. We're going to right click, shade smooth. We're going to actually add another subdiv now. Now that we applied it, we're going to have this one as our actual subdiv for our scene. We're going to, and I think this is where we ended off last time, where we have this perfect, this perfectly modeled, or perfectly, let me put this in global mode. Perfect sphere with all quads going around it. So what we're going to do is go into edit mode here, go into edit mode, and we have modifiers apply, subdiv. What we want to do is go ahead and add a bevel modifier. We're going to go ahead and get started with the bevel modifier. So bevel, put that in there. Set the width of the bevel to 0.1. We're going to do 3 segments, and the segments are important because if you have a 90-degree angle, what bevel does is takes that 90-degree angle, divides it into 3 segments. So 90 degrees divided into 3 is 30 degrees each. So it's 30 degrees at edge, 30 degrees at edge, 30 degrees at edge, 30 degrees an edge, where that'll be a smooth edge going around. So that's essentially what bevel does. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We did 3 segments. We're going to do limit method. We're going to do weight because we want to have control of each individual selection or each individual beveled edge, and I'll show you how that works a little later. The width method, we're going to set it to width, and we're just going to leave everything else the same. It is very important to put this above the subdivision surfaces. I'll leave it below for now so you can see the difference of what happens when you put it above and leave it below. So let's go ahead and create a button for the top here. So I'm gonna go into front facing mode. That's the back, the front. I want the front. Yeah, the front right there. I'm gonna select the faces, So select this face, this face, this face, this face, and we're doing is creating this object similar to this. Let me pull the object up for reference so we know where we're at in the process. So essentially we're creating an object similar to this, not exactly but similar to what we have here. So we're gonna have a button right now, so we're working on this button here. So back to this mode, edit mode, by hitting tab or holding tab, or you can go down here to edit mode, select the faces. I want to select every face that's attached to these faces, so I'll push Control plus, or you can go through the selection menu and figure out how to select even more, or you can select them one by one. Either way you want to do it. This is a cool feature that Blender has here that I definitely want to show off. So originally when I was modeling, I would try to move each vertice, a vertice being each one of these points, until I got it to the shape of what I thought was a perfect sphere or a perfect circle for the button. But now you can see that if you right click and go to loop tools, while you have this selected, you right click and go to loop tool, put it back in face mode, right click and go to loop tools and select circle, it'll create the perfect circle for you. It's an awesome feature Blender has, and yeah, I'm glad I found that. So now that we have that done, what I'm gonna do is inset faces. So I'm gonna right click, inset face, drag, and that's just gonna pull all my faces in, but leave a loop on the outside. And I want to keep this loop on the outside because I do want to be able to potentially put another loop cut in here. So I'm going to keep the loop on the outside. So then I'm going to push E or right click, extrude, so I can push E also. And I'm going to extrude this button in like this. Actually, not even that far. I'm extruded in right there. And I'm going to inset by pushing I and pull it in some more, a little bit more. Like that, just like that. So I want to show you one thing before we actually pull this button out. Since we have it right here, I'm gonna go ahead and go into edge selection mode, and I'm gonna select the edge around. Let's actually turn this glossiness off and put it back in the studio. I'm gonna select this edge that's going around the top, and this edge that's going around the inside here. And that's the inset edge. We don't want to select that as of yet. After you select those, you want to go into item. And the item is basically all the attributes of whatever you have selected. So you go into item, and you can see there's a edge data here that has the mean bevel weight. And that's basically saying from 0% to 100%, or 0 to 1. But from 0 to 100%, how much do you want the influence of this bevel to have on your model? And we're gonna go ahead and boost it all the way to 1. But you see nothing happen. And this is one of the things I want to point out why the order is very important. So nothing happened, but look what happens when I switch the order. Now you get this sharp edge. Now you get this sharper edge. Let's switch the order back. The edge goes away. Switch it back again. Switch it back again. You get that nice sharp edge. And that's using the influence of the bevel weight, or the mean bevel weight. So as you see it influences it. And sometimes if you go all the way to 100% or 1, it gives you some artifacts. So I like to usually go down around like 80, and that gives me pretty good results. So I just kind of keep it at 80 all the time. So then let's go back to face mode, face selection mode, and select all the faces that were inside again. Control plus, and I'm gonna extrude these faces outwards like so. Outwards, inset, pull it in. That's by pushing I and pull the faces in like that. Go ahead and go into edge selection mode. Select the edge by double clicking. You select the whole edge, and we're gonna boost that mean bevel weight up just like that. This one I probably don't want as sharp. Yeah, I do. I want it pretty sharp. Like so. Alright, so now you have a button. Just like that. Alright, we did the button. Simply by insetting face loops, let's see what it's called. Loop tools, circle, inset the face, extrude, and pretty much that's pretty much all you need to do for that. So that's modeling a button for a perfect button for your perfect sphere. So now we're gonna go ahead and do it a couple more times, and I'm gonna show you a cool little feature, another feature that's in Blender. So let's select. Let's actually make a loop cut here. So you can go to the Tools tab and select loop cut. We're gonna go ahead and put a loop cut right here and leave that there. So what we want to do is create some type of little crease, like if you were putting the parts together, or a crease like if two parts were coming together. We're gonna go back into selection mode, and what I want to do is right click on that loop cut that I already made and do a bevel edge, and that's going to allow that loop cut to split into two. Once you have it where you want it, go ahead and left click, and then what we're going to do is extrude it in like so, and just give it a little extrusion, just a little bit, like that. I'm going to select those edges. And do a mean bevel weight all the way up. I'm going to select these faces, this face loop, or yeah. Let's just see what it looks like. And you see we do have a nice crease that goes around the button here. Gives it a nice little look. And the beautiful thing about the way we're modeling here is this is perfect for games. It's no triangles, no Booleans or anything like that. Speaking of Booleans, some people might be like, why don't you just use Booleans to cut the object? So as you see, we're going to edit mode. Everything is quads here. Everything is quads. Let's actually create a Boolean and see what's the difference. So I'm going to add an object. Let's just add a box object. Mine add mesh cube. I'll scale it down. We're going to use this. What a bevel is, essentially a bevel is taking one object and using it to cut into another object and create shapes. So we're going to show you how that's done. So we're going to take this object and use it like a knife to cut into this object. So what we want to do is grab this object, apply a modifier, a Boolean modifier, right here, then pick whip, select it, and then turn that cube off. Turn the visibility of this one off. The visibility of this one off. And as you can see, you have a Boolean model. You have the Boolean complete. The problem with this is though, because if you go into wireframe mode, all of your quads are not calculated here. So you'll get this weird artifacting here, and it's not, and especially in games, you won't be able to, the computer won't be able to calculate what the light should be like. So your normal maps will be off, your lighting maps will be off, because you used a Boolean and it doesn't have the geometry associated needed to calculate the proper lighting. But that's essentially why you don't want to use Boolean if you're creating for video games or creating for game environments. Now sometimes, you know, if you're just creating for I kind of messed it up. I'm gonna just take this Boolean off. But sometimes if you are creating for I don't know why I'm having a brain fart. If you're just creating for a render, it works. Like, because once you have the image done, nobody cares. You know, once the light, everything is just to create one image. In contrast with game development, everything is real time, so the lighting needs to be calculated every second. I'll be right back. Okay, so essentially that's why we don't want to use a Boolean modifier. So we're going to continue along. Another cool feature about Blender that I really love, and these are all of these features that come with Blender. These are not add-ons, these are anything that you have to do special, and that's one of the things I love about it. You can pretty much, as soon as you download it, these features are available to you as well. So what we're going to do is pretty much do the same thing as we did before. We're going to select an area. We're going to create loop tool circle. We're going to inset that face by hitting I. We're going to extrude that face in by hitting E. We're going to actually make this a little more, give it a little more character. So inset it again by hitting I, extrude again by hitting E, inset it one more time by hitting I, extrude it in by hitting E, inset it one more time, and leave it there, just like that. And I'm going to grab all of these edges, that edge, that edge, that edge, that edge. You can't see them actually. If I go to wireframe mode, you probably can see them. Ooh, let's turn the subdiv off so I can see. That edge, this edge, this edge. What's going on with these faces here? But we're going to do the mean bevel width on all of these edges. So we're going to turn that all the way up to, like, again, around 0.8. We're going to grab these faces because I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. Grab these faces and the scale is down so they don't overlap each other. Just like that. And look at it. That's what's so perfect about, if you see, this is without Subdivide, but that's what's so perfect about this way of modeling, because you don't end up with those triangles going around. You still have a perfect quads here. I mean, it's beautiful. That's a beautiful model, ready for games, ready for anything. And we can go ahead and put the subdiv back on. And you can see the subdiv on, back at it, just like that. And actually, I'm gonna go to edit mode. Like it's trying to give me some issues with doing it like that. I'm gonna pull this back out like this. But I also want to Control I, extrude it back out. I extrude it in. Grab the edge. Go ahead and mean bevel weight that. Actually, let's keep this one soft. Let's keep the one inside soft. So as you can see, now when I scaled, when I did that scaling of the faces here, it threw off the value of, or the integrity of the circle, because it wasn't meant to be scaled. It was already perfectly, it was still made the right way for the circle to be how it's supposed to be. But we're just gonna leave it like this. So now we have this like inset face thing going on. That's pretty cool. One of the cool features that I really wanted to show off here. So again, when I was beginning modeling, I would go here or grab the model and do like a grab half of it, delete half of it, go into modifiers, do a mirror modifier, and then whatever I would do on one side, it would automatically do on the other side. Well, Blender has this tool, another tool available, where you can now just grab, go into edit mode, select everything, hit mesh, and Symmetrize, if I said that right. So it looks like we're going from, we want to take our negative y here, negative y, and duplicate it to our positive y. So we're going to take our negative y and duplicate it to our positive y. And you can see it did it for us. I'm in wireframe mode, but you can see now everything on this side is on this side. I mean, that's just a really nice tool to have. So let's just actually let's just do this a couple more times so you can get a gist of just how it works, and that's pretty much where we're gonna wrap this up. So I'm gonna just continue to do this and continue so you can get more practice and just hear it a couple more times of what needs to be done to achieve this. So again, we're going to grab this face here, right click these faces, right click circle, inset eye, extrude, inset eye, gonna go in the loop or edge selection, double click to loops, select the loop, edge loop, shift double click to select the edge loop, go into items, mean bevel weight, we're gonna boost it all the way back up to 0.8 or somewhere around there where I like it. And that necessarily isn't for everything. So let's say we wanted to change for this one. Let's just actually leave this one at something real sharp, like 0.45. Just a little sharper than the other ones. What we're gonna do is select all, mesh, Symmetrize, and now we want to go from positive X to negative X. So positive X to negative X. This is the wrong one. Oh, okay, not X. So positive Z to negative Z. There we go. Positive Z to negative Z. And that gives us one on the front and the back. But actually I want to duplicate that. So let's do it again. A, mesh, Symmetrize, positive X to negative X. So now we have a button on top and on the sides. That's what we want. Just like that. Just like that. So then we're going to do one more thing, just like we did this inset little button here. We're going to grab off, we're going to go into face mode, grab this face, 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 and this face. We're going to inset those faces pretty far, actually. We're going to extrude them in, inset them again, select edge, select the other edge, mean bevel weight, and push that all the way up to 1. What I want to do is, what do I want to do? What I want to do is do an edge loop tool there. Then I want to right click on it, bevel edge, thicken it up, make it a little thicker, extrude this in, or extrude this out. Actually, let's go out. Let's change it up. Inset. Just like that. Now you don't necessarily have to inset it, but I like to inset it just so I can have one more, just in case I want to put one more edge loop in there. I'd have the ability to do that by insetting it. Let me turn that all the way up to 1, just like that. And essentially that's how you create something like this. So I want to do one more. This is, I want to create it on this area here. So I want to do an edge loop right here. And turn the subdiv off. I want to do an edge loop right there. I want to bevel that edge loop by right clicking. Then I want to extrude it in. Or I have to scale it. After I extrude, I have to scale it. Make sure it doesn't scale on the X axis, so Shift X. Or Shift Y. There we go. Grab those loops. This deal, multi-monitor thing, man, this thing's crazy. Then we're gonna do a mean bevel weight on that, just like that. So now, put the subdiv back on. So now you have a little inset face right there. And again, you can go on and on with creating stuff like this. And you have a couple little droids right here, like. And it's that simple. Just keep doing that over and over again. No need for a bevel modifier. And these objects are ready for 3D printing. These objects are ready to go right into the games. And there shouldn't be any lighting issues at all. So I'm gonna wrap this lesson up right here. That's pretty much all you need to know as far as keeping a quad based mesh. And keeping the integrity of the mesh with quads, so you won't run into the lighting issues that a lot of people run into. And actually, I'm gonna want you to see how glossy this is, or how this looks when we put the matte cap to it, so you can see that, you know, when you do have lighting on it, it really comes across really nicely. Like the edges are crisp. It looks like some type of product, some type of toy or something. I'm on the wrong object, but some type of futuristic toy, or you know, with a button. It has the button and pretty much everything here, just like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, give me the thumbs up. You know what to do. If you want to continue to watch more, subscribe to the video, and I plan on making more in the future. But again, I hope you have a nice day. I'll talk to you soon. Later. Bye.